Here's a very complicated and sophisticated example. I'm going to go through this quickly. We can talk about it more if you like. This is an example I used of a government contract RFP. So I know, some of the folks on this call and others that we're working with, you've got millions, tens of millions of dollars worth of government contracts. So here's an RFP that came out of the New York State court system. I said, great, read the RFP. It summarizes it, does a good job, fine. I picked a nonprofit that I like to work with, NILAG, my friends at NILAG. I went to their website, I found their annual report, their financial statements. I uploaded that and I said, great, I'm pretending we're NILAG. Now you know about us, read these 3 documents. Okay, great, now it's summarizing the nonprofit. So now it knows a little bit about the RFP and it knows about the nonprofit. So I said, great, based on what you now know that we do, because you've read our annual report, you've read our financials, and based on this RFP, what would be some good fits? What should we apply for? I was like, great. Oh, well, you should probably consider putting in an application around housing or family matters, healthcare. These are all things that you do that they would be willing to fund. But remember, the conversation is never over. So even if that's useful, I said, let's focus on immigration. Actually help me put together the application packet. Give me an outline of every single thing that we're going to need to submit. According to that RFP, what are we going to have to put together in order to really apply for something focused on the work we do in immigration? But then I said, since you know a little bit about us already, can you write any of it? What can you actually already put together in this application package versus what I'm going to have to go do as the human? And said, great. Well, you're going to need a cover sheet. That's what it's required. I can do it. You don't have to do it. I already know everything about NILAG. I know your address. I know your chief executive officer. I know your phone number. You don't need to write the cover sheet. You're going to have to put in the numbers and the data for the grant proposal for the specific outcomes, but the narrative proposal, organizational capacity and experience, well, there's plenty of that already in your annual report. There's no reason for you to write that over from scratch. I'll do it. And on we go through all the points and subpoints. And then even though I didn't ask it to, it actually summarizes, by the way, Rich, here are all the things that me as the computer, I'm going to do myself. Here are the things that you're going to have to do. It's like giving me a work plan. So suddenly it's my boss, which is a little interesting. And again, we're not done. I can say, great, let's move forward section by section. And I go through. And so this was not a 2-minute conversation. This was a 20-minute conversation. But in 20 minutes, I had something that was maybe 50%, 60% of the final project that we were going to need, something that I think a lot of grants and contracts offices might have taken a week or more to get started at, to say, okay, let's everybody sit down, then we'll come back and we'll meet next Tuesday and talk about what we found. It was actually able to get going, at least for a first draft, in a pretty sophisticated way.